Welcome back, LEGO Star Wars fans. This is another Star Wars review, and it is the Star Wars Advent Calendar from 2018, which featured a lot of stuff from the Rogue One and a couple other properties as well. So it came out September of 2018, and then, all the seasonal Advent Calendars are done by December of that year, and then are hard to get. And then now you're looking at the aftermarket, which is where I was able to get this. So I don't have any spare parts. It is just the the complete set itself. And as per usual, these since 2011 have been running at about $40. Just recently in 2022. The price was up to $45 for why? I don't know why, other than just that Lego's getting more expensive, and I don't know, something along those lines. So with that, let's go into this. Again, this is the Rogue One, so you'll see a lot of themes around that. There are some prequel, of course, some original trilogy right out of the gate. Star Wars had to go back to the well and do another land speeder, and I wish I had the other one to kind of compare against. Well, actually, maybe I do. I don't have it handy, but this isn't a bad one. But again, how many land speeders do you really need? And then Lego jumped into doing Rose Tico. This is a duplicate figure for both myself and is in multiple sets. That's one thing I will say about this set, is that there really aren't a ton of unique figures to the set. There's only 3, although she is a good one to get in an inexpensive way. So while she is in another set that's fairly inexpensive, this is another option if you weren't into that particular ship. Then going in, I don't even know what ship this really is, so I'm just going to not try to butcher it up, but it's some sort of a cruiser of some kind, and it's not bad. I mean, again, this is good parts. Looks like a Star Wars ship. I don't really know what that is. Next, they did a Republic fighter tank, which is maybe a little foreshadowing that in 4 years they were going to come out with a Republic fighter tank as a set. So really solid. I think that's a nice little micro build. I'm sure it was fun at the time. Then they came out with an IG-88, which is not unique. There's several of those out there on the market. Although, I don't think this particular one was unique. Let's see here. If anything, there was maybe like one slight variant change, but not enough for me to really consider it unique at all. So it was just in this one set, but it really, to me, there's not much truly unique with that figure. Then, I don't know if this is considered a Christmas inclusion, right? Because in the beginning, the first few weeks, there's really nothing Christmas, but this is kind of a robotic serving robot with some drinks. I guess it's kind of Christmassy, but the only thing I really take away from this is there's some good parts for Mox. Other than that, it's kind of a throwaway build. Going into, as they kind of kick off, the day 7, really solid Naboo starfighter. This is, there's been a couple of these out there in some of the builds. There's obviously a microfighter version, and now this ship has really continued to gain popularity along with the prequels. Next is the classic throwaway battle droid that comes in every single set, at least most of them to date. I haven't collected all of them, so I guess we'll... all the ones that I've ever collected have some sort of a plane. They moved from plane. 2011, they had the pilot battle droid. Then there's a really solid micro build next. This is maybe a foreshadowing. They've done this ship 3 or 4 times now as a playset, but this is General Grievous's Starfighter. That's a really nice micro build. I think that is some really good design work, and there's good parts, so I'm not going to complain. One thing that does get complained about quite a bit is the inclusion of these, just basic play features or just, weapon rack type things. I think it's okay. I think it gives you some ideas for designs on weapons that you can include in mocks and things like that. And so I appreciate this little inclusion. Apparently they use blasters in Star Wars Christmas. They don't use snow. Then from the Freemaker Adventures is the next up. I think this is the Rowan in a tan jacket right here, and so he's a different figure. This is again from the Freemaker Adventures. He hasn't been in any of the other properties. You get the nice small legs, the tan jacket, and I think that's a nice inclusion. You usually see him anywhere from like $4 to $6 online in terms of value. So not an extremely valuable figure, but is one that I was really looking for. I think it's great to have in the collection. I'm always looking for more Jedi, even if they're Padawan or younglings like Rowan. Then next up is the Anakin Starfighter. I just think this is okay. There's a little spot for the droid and pilot and all that. Just a really basic, good for parts, micro build, but it is recognizable. I think that's a solid thing. And then next up was the Imperial Transport. That's pretty cool. That's really nice in micro scale. And I really appreciate these types of parts. They're always really, really good to get. So nice foreshadowing for Lego coming out with a couple different Imperial different transports. They just came out with the Marauder last year, so a lot of really cool stuff. Next up was the weapons rack. I kind of like the usage of these transparent cylinders, and then of course getting more weapons and in some of these parts. The sand blue is really nice. I always love getting ideas for even for bases and things like that. The next is probably one of the most valuable figures in this set, and I think is one of the 2 figures, maybe 3 figures that makes this set a solid one, is this Death Trooper. Officially, let's see, yeah, the Imperial Death Trooper. I've seen values as high as anywhere from $10 to $15 for this Death Trooper. Let's see, let me give you kind of got his back there. And he's got angry clone face because he's an angry Death Trooper. You see there's a little bit of green in there. That's really, really nice. And that, those are not easy to come by. There's only a couple different sets that he's been in. So he's been in this advent calendar, and then he is the same one in the Imperial Trooper Battle Pack. So if you didn't load up on the Imperial Trooper Battle Pack, then you would have wanted to get him in this set if he is one that you were missing in your collection. Next up is this this is the Rathgar monster thingy in miniature scale, so that's pretty cute. I like getting these parts. That's really nice. Then we've got the Guvayan security soldier, which I did not have in my collection because I did not get the Rathgar escape, monster escape that Han Solo had to do with the Ganja Club. So this is a great figure to kind of add into the collection. Kind of a nice little random inclusion that you can put in different mocks and stuff like that. So great little character to get. So that's a nice one. And he doesn't have a bad value. Usually I see him online. Usually he'll pop up for anywhere from $5 to $8. Kind of a range for him. Then it's funny, kind of a clone copy of one of my least favorite microfighters of all time. The First Order TIE Fighter is pretty terrible in microfighter form, and it's not that great in micro scale either. Then I think the next jankiest micro build of all time is this AT. It just looks like, I don't know, looks like a bad micro camel. Just bad. I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely going to break them down for parts. Then they did this this carrier, like hauler type shuttle. I like it for parts again. I think it's the same concept. I kind of like that. I guess now that I think about it, for Rogue One, this is kind of a cool play with that whole, with that orange weapons case. Either way, don't love them. And then there was a nice speeder bike in the towards the home stretch. This is pretty nice, and it came with its own little pedestal. I don't know what would actually go on here. I'm definitely 100% going to use this for parts. These bucket handles are definitely very useful for greebling and mocks, and so I'm really glad. And I think I've got a couple extra in some of the other advent calendars. Then, as we're kind of going into the home stretch, another fun Christmas inclusion. I like getting these different parts. This is a water evaporator that has got a little bit of a Christmas flavor to it. Then, to kind of close the show, I think this 2018 Advent calendar does a great job with General Merrick. He is just a great looking pilot figure, all around, great hair. And then to kind of close the show, they have as I kind of knock everything over. To close the show, they'd use the snowman with his helmet, just like that. So that's pretty cool. Getting these different parts, getting his helmet, getting a named rebel pilot, getting the security guard, death trooper. You get some cheap characters that maybe they're in their collection, maybe they're not. You get a kind of a fun throw-in inclusion with this Freemaker Jedi, the classic, clanker. So, you look at the overall value that you get here, and it's a pretty solid, I would say, above average advent calendar, and definitely worthy of being in your collection. Here's the actual box itself. I got it in pretty good shape. It was opened, and it had 307 pieces, which is definitely on the high side compared to some of the earlier advent calendars. So there you go. That is the 2018 advent calendar, full kind of day-by-day review. It's an awesome one and worthy of getting on the aftermarket. Great figures, some decent builds in there. Yeah, there's some crappy ones in there, but at least you can break everything down and get some nice Star Wars colors and parts in your collection. So thank you so much for joining me on my journey collecting all the advent calendars. This is 2018. Make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Probably an advent calendar. Bye for now.